What's going on, gamers? So we have an interesting discussion here because we have Mr. Strickland here saying Forza Horizon 6 proves Microsoft still cares about exclusivity. Interesting, right? I think to a certain degree, but there's also, I think, a misunderstanding after me reading on some other stuff. Because over here, Ybarra is saying there's no better racing game than Forza, right? Though, he's going to get hounded by Mario Kart fans and GT fans because of that. But, that's whatever. That's not what this is about. But him making statements like this and saying what he's saying and then kind of saying that, it kind of just makes you kind of question it a bit. But not sure why the expected delay launch on PlayStation, right? But Microsoft already explained that they have the opt-in going on that, so that to me means that they kind of need help with it. And they have Fable as a project, and they have that going too. So I think in this situation, and because it's at launch, it just kind of makes sense to wait till that version is ready so they can be equal and you're not releasing an inferior product. And remember, they got to work on a pro patch too. So there's a lot of work to all of that. And yeah, I think Ybarra is missing a point here. Just launch it everywhere at the same time. Well, if they could have done that, that's not Nutella's. I mean, come on, that's Satya's plan. You don't think he was going to do that? Or was going to want to do that? That's what he wants to do at all times. I'm telling you, unless he can't. So no. And then he says continued confusion messaging. That can't happen. I've talked about the confusion in the market before, but when it comes to this, yeah, if they come out and say why and explain it, things are fine. They made it clear that Turn 10 is helping with all that, so it's quite obvious that they're trying to get as much done on Fable and Forza Horizon 6 as possible because those are the next two big flagship games that have to be ready. They can't be sitting there doing that and working on multiple ports and having all of them, half-assed on certain days. They want to make sure that does not get interrupted. So I think they're making the right move here, and it can end up turning out to be beneficial at launch. We're going to get to the other idea here in a second too, though. Continue messaging in or out. Not both. I'll play on Steam, so I don't care, but let the studio make money. You saying that, they're probably going to use that against you. Wouldn't it be more likely that more money goes to PlayStation games if you buy this game from Microsoft rather than Steam? True. After all, 30% of what you pay goes to Valve, not Microsoft. And then this next individual, we'll get over to this in a second, says, we know you got sacked from Microsoft and have to be upset about everything they do, but can you not just give it a rest, mate? He says, why didn't you launch Diablo 3 on consoles at the same time? Why PC first? Every time Xbox does anything, you're there posting something negative. For the most part, yeah, he really is. So you can kind of tell he's taking jabs at them because he's no longer there. And I don't even know if he wanted to be. But they both have their tangles up, but he definitely does not have the best takes. Now, going over here, we see Mr. Strickland saying Forza Horizon 6 proves Microsoft still cares about exclusivity. You guys let me know what you think about that. What do I think about this? It's exactly what I said. But let's continue reading what he says, then we're going to get into this. He says Forza Horizon 6 is undoubtedly coming to PlayStation 5 at some point, but it won't release on Sony's console at launch and is coming to PC and Xbox first. Yeah, of course. Forza Horizon 6 is indeed coming to PlayStation 5, but not at launch, proving Microsoft still believes in a measure of exclusivity, even if it's temporary. So here's my thing about that, about what he's saying. He's reading into us to think, just like I thought that might be an idea, just like Tim Dog thought something too as well. He actually ended up posting something. We'll get to that in a second. But I think the best thing is if you can get the best ports, and that means delaying by 36 months every single time, I don't mind. Now, do they obviously want stuff day and date where they can get their full profit day one? I think so. I don't think Microsoft is really changing their mind on that. But when it comes to these other situations, yeah, I think exclusivity would be like certain situations, but not something too crazy. Remember that Towerborn game? That's still there. You can't get Forza Horizon 4, 3. There's a lot of games, even though Phil Spencer said no red line, but that does not mean every single Xbox game they want. He never said that. He just said no red line. That's why I was trying to tell people they probably could play some of that game a bit. And the best time to try that would be at the beginning of the console launch where everything's the most fresh. Put some power there at the beginning. Yeah, do that. Totally. I'm all for that and see how it works out. What's wrong with that? But Strickland, no, he's saying that Microsoft may be thinking about that approach and making it timed exclusive, like 3 to 6 months. Obviously, they're not going anything full. They're not going to do that. You know what I mean? Years ago, during the start of the PS4 generation, I remember writing an article discussing how time exclusivity was the hottest new trend. Not much has changed since then, and publishers still make these deals. What has changed, though, is Microsoft's radical shift to break platform exclusivity and bring Xbox games to PlayStation. This prompts Microsoft to utilize temporary advantages like timed exclusives. We're seeing this play out with Forza Horizon 6, which is timed exclusive to Xbox and PC. The racing sim won't come to PS5 at launch, but instead sometimes post-release. This hasn't been the case for all cross-platform games, as Gears of War Reloaded launched on day one on PS5. Yeah, but that's not really a new game. That's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Maxing out some stuff. That was a remaster, though, and Forza Horizon 6 is a sequel, plus they're working on another game. They're not the biggest studio, and they shut down some of that other stuff, so they kind of have to, like I said, when it comes to this situation, we kind of have to scale this differently with other situations and see what Microsoft's going to do after this. This may just be one thing, who knows? Forza Horizon 6 will launch first on Game Pass, first on Xbox consoles, of course, and Game Pass in 26. With the excitement for this platform on other franchises, sorry about that. With the excitement for this franchise on other platforms, you know what I think, guys? I think when it comes to this game, it's going to probably be the highest selling Forza game when it comes to sales, since they're going to have it on PlayStation. This time it'll be like, like the actual sales, not players. It'll end up being very good, and it's in the right setting too in Japan. So I think a lot of people are going to like this setting, if you ask me. So it says Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios are also working together to bring Forza Horizon 6 to PlayStation 5 post-launch. So that gives you the idea when they mentioned Turn 10, what were they doing with them? Well, this gives you the idea they're helping with that. Whatever remainder or whatever they decided to do with the rest of the people. And that was said on Xbox Wire. So if Mike Ybarra saw that, I don't understand the statement of not sure why the expected delay launch on PlayStation, just launch it everywhere at the same time, when they're telling you that Turn 10 and them are working together to do that. Basically saying they need help and it's not ready. This staggered approach has preserved a level of exclusivity while also giving Microsoft a potential benefit of seasonality to game sales. Launching Forza 6 in an off month where game releases are light could net a ton of sales. At the beginning, something fresh. Building FOMO, fear of missing out, has been beneficial to Microsoft in the past. The pent-up demand for Forza racing games over the console generations led to megaton sales of Forza Horizon 5 when Microsoft finally brought it over to PlayStation 5. So there we have it. Now the idea of Microsoft caring about exclusivity is like saying they care to do Forza Horizon 6 that way. Rather than the only reason we're doing this is because we have to and we can't get it out day and date. Otherwise, we don't care about exclusivity. I remember Nadelia saying that, or Natalia saying that, Satya, he said that. But I think Phil and them, I don't know, they wouldn't mind playing that game. Let me know what you guys think. We know what their full force is, and in order for them to make the most money, definitely going on PC and losing that 30% from Steam, I don't think Microsoft really wants to even think about that. I think they want to get as much money as possible, and that's how Satya wants to see it. But if this ends up working out and they can still branch it out and they don't lose much, we'll see. But over here, yeah, he's a bit off because I don't know if he's read this, but it's quite clear. Now get into what Tim Dog says. He says Xbox is going with 6 to 12 month exclusivity for value proposition. Focus strictly first and foremost on Xbox devices, a commitment to its fan on exclusivity, and ensure them the best place to play its games. That's what he wants it to do. I think he just wants to push it that way because of the console warring. One, glad you're doing well and healthy, man. Yeah, that's cool. Keep it up. Two, just glad you have you on this level of neutral and full honesty. Speak your mind, enjoy life, and game on. That's cool. So they're going to stop putting stuff on Steam day one. That's not what that means if it's going to be an Xbox PC thing. It's more about what's outside of that ecosystem. If they plan on doing that, we'll find out. All right, y'all, let me know what you guys think. Once again, you know I got to do this. Ponies, sit down. PlayStation gamers, keep gaming. You guys know what's up. Later, y'all.